All right, today's exercise is to practice what we learned, creating points, lines, and circles. And we're gonna make a dice. And then we're gonna put a face on each dice so it has the holes. Okay, and then you can color it, each face whatever you want. So again, we're practicing creating all these points as you see in the specification tree, and how to split out the holes using the circles to split it out from the flat faces using the fill commands. Okay, so I'm gonna do the number 3 for you, and then you guys get to build the rest. I'll make this dice. Let's see, what did I do? Let's escape here and pop back into the ISO view. And do a quick measure here. Okay, so I'm going to make this cube 3 by 3 by 3 just for kicks, all right? So we'll start a new part. And the workbench application we're going to use is generative wireframe and surfacing. So you see on the top of the screen on the left, it says generative wireframe and surfacing. You've already done the exercise on how to create the box, but we'll just kind of duplicate that. Actually, I'm going to do something different, I think. I'm going to go right to line. Yeah, I'm going to do a line point direction. The point I'm going to start at is 0, 0, 0. Okay, so I'm going to go to point and first create that point at 0, 0, 0. You see in the specification tree I have a point created at 0, 0, 0. It's really hard to see in my graphics, so I'm going to pick off the tree and we'll go to line, and I'm going to use that point number 1 in the pop-up window. I'm using point direction. Point number 1 is the point I'm going to start from. The direction, I'm going to go in the Y direction. So I'm going to right click and hit the Y direction, or I should be able to just pick on the Y direction off the screen. Sometimes it's kind of a pain grabbing that, and that's why I will right click and grab the Y here. Alright, and we're going to make that 3 inches. And then I'm going to create another line off of point 1 again. So I picked it off the specification tree. Go along the Z direction. See how easy it was that time? So sometimes it's kind of a pain. Sometimes you can get them. I'll select OK. I will select line again. I will select this point at this end and go in this direction. And we will do 3 inches again. Select a line. Go from here to here. The direction will be the Y direction. And reverse the direction this time by using the reverse option here. Okay, so we will reverse the direction. Again, we just leave it at 3 inches, and that's what you learned how to do on the other one by using a bunch of points. In this case, I used line direction. I'm going to create a line from this point to this point and select OK. And this time I'm going to use points, planes, repetition, selecting this line and keying in an instance of 3, and I'll hit preview. I don't see them on there, but when I hit OK, you'll see in the specification tree I got 3 different points. I'm going to create a circle on a plane that I create. So I'm going to create a plane. right here on that plane here at an offset in the pop-up window. It's already highlighted, so you don't have to do anything but just type in 0. Hit preview, move that plane over here just to kind of get it out of my way and say okay. I can now create a circle on one of those points. I know they're hard to see, but there's one right there. I got the line. So again, I'm going to do the trick where I go to circle, and the pop-up window asks for the center axis. The center will be point number 2. So I'll start with point number 2. And now ask for a support. That's going to be the plane on the YZ plane that I've created. Don't use the YZ plane though, because I want to be able to move off that plane if I wanted to. If you create it on the YZ plane, it's forever stuck there. All right, we will do full circle. Okay, so that was this limitation here, do a full circle. And I will switch to diameter mode. So I switched it to diameter, and we will go with a 3/8 inch radius. Notice, or diameter. Notice I type in 3/8 and then hit tab. Creates that circle. I'll select OK. Let's do that again. Circle. I will use point number 3 off the specification tree. I will use the plane again as the support. And I will select OK to accept the same parameters as the last one. Now I know the circles are all the same sizes. Let's do the last point, point 4. Create a circle. By having point 4 active in the tree, it automatically put point 4 in my center and went right to asking me for my support. I'll select this here as my support, and I will select OK to accept the same parameters. Now, line 5, you might think, okay, I don't need that anymore, let's delete it. If I delete it, everything else is going to go with it. Oh my lord, I don't want to do that. So hit undo to not delete that. What I could do is hide line number 5 to get it out, so I'm not actually looking at it anymore, and I'm just looking at my circles. Now what we want to do is fill in the gap, or fill in this box. So that would be surfacing. Wireframe is points, lines, circles, and planes. Surfaces is an infinitely thin material in space used to represent a surface. So imagine if you were polishing your car, the part you're waxing or shining, that is the actual surface. Okay, so it's infinitely thin. The option I will use is called fill, and that is this option down here in the bottom. So the feature fill will allow me to grab all 4 lines on the outside, and after it says closed contour, you know you're going to be able to select OK and it will close it. The only problem is I didn't account for the 3 holes. So let's hit undo and undo the last surface or fill command we did. Let's select fill again. Select the 4 lines that represent the boundary of this dice. Now, what we want to do is select the tab Inner Boundaries. Select the 3 faces or edges that represent the circles. What am I doing wrong here? That's weird, I don't see them showing up. Well, I selected the 3 edges. That should hollow out the area where the circle is. I'll select OK. And that's one of the sides to your dice. Using lessons learned in the previous exercise in this video, see if you can't duplicate those steps to create a 3x3 by 3x3 by 3 cuboid and create your dice accordingly. Alright, I used 3 inches so you could easily calculate where your holes might be located and such. Okay, so there's your dice. You get to have some fun with that. Again, what I'm looking for is the practice of creating points, lines, circles, and I want you to also practice creating planes. and to generate the faces for each of the sides. That concludes this video.